Greetings. Hello once again. Shall we do some real basics? In yoga, there are just so many wonderful possibilities, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And we're talking about all of them, but I'd like to go back to basics. The yoga for this age, the spiritual practice for this age, according to Sri Ramakrishna, who was a great yoga leader, the way is bhakti yoga. Just since we're such emotional people to begin with, just direct your feelings toward God. And your feelings will wander all over the place. You just keep bringing them back. It's easiest to feel love for God from the chest center, from the front of your chest, or inside the spine, back of your heart. Either one, whatever works best for you. Just direct your feelings. Strive to have a feeling of love. Direct them before you toward the infinite spirit. You can think of the infinite spirit as having a form, such as Jesus or Buddha or Krishna, but you don't need to. Just whatever is most natural for you, just directing your feeling of love toward God. And when this feeling becomes a constant flow, you go into higher states of consciousness, absorption in spirit, realization of your soul. It's just so remarkably straightforward. Just direct your feelings and try to cultivate a feeling of love, and it moves forward, and it becomes a flow after wandering all over the place. When it gets steady, you'll feel wonderful, because you'll have a loving heart, and this love will just go on, and you'll live in a feeling of love, in an awareness of love, instead of chaos or anger or negative moods. So it's a very beautiful thing. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, they say, be friendly to what you're meditating on, be friendly to your endeavor, and be friendly to you. It takes an openness and an appreciation. And that's certainly true. You have a friendly attitude rather than a resentment. If you're going to try to get to know God better, you can let the resentment flow toward God and say, I just feel angry and unhappy with you, and you can do that. But when the feeling becomes one of a positive mood or a positive state, then you begin to have realizations, because you're friendly and open to a beautiful relationship. Now, there's one degree more than friendship that I'd like to talk about today, because if you cultivate this, it might be the key for you. So, we're talking about working toward bhakti, an ongoing feeling of love. And if you don't have an ongoing feeling of love between you and the Lord, between you and your fellow human, cultivate the following. Cultivate fondness. If you cultivate fondness, it will help bhakti to come. We're saying friendliness is very good. Do that. But if you could up it from friendliness to fondness, be very helpful. Be a wonderful factor in your life. Being fond. Like, look at a mother who's just had a baby and is loving and adoring this beautiful miracle child. There is such fondness there. There's an adoration. There's a wonder of life going on. It's a beautiful sight. Fondness, I think, most easily is represented in a mother loving her child. There's great love and adoration, but there's also this deep fondness. I mean, just the way the child moves an arm or a leg or looks back at you. There's this wonderful quality of fondness. So that's what I'd like to share, because fondness can be very important. And it can give you an entrance to bhakti, which gives you an entrance into the state of yoga, union of body, mind, and spirit, and union between you and your Creator. An ongoing, working, wonderful relationship with the divine in your daily life and also in your prayer life. So, fondness is the focus, and let's just enjoy the possibility that we could feel fond of God and discover that God is very fond of you. Very fond. Loves you in a special way with a great fondness. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just talk about fondness, and then I've got psychological wisdom from a doctor of the heart to share and to encourage everybody to bhakti, an ongoing feeling of love that gets established in you, and you live in this ongoing feeling of love. Friendliness helps. Fondness helps. Here we go. Fond, to cherish with great affection. Fond, having a likeness for. Being tender and affectionate. The dictionary says sometimes fondness means you're overdoing it. But fond, in this sense, is simply a step toward ongoing love, bhakti. All right. I once said, said, do you love me, Lord? Do you love me? And you might say that too. You might be able to one day experience, if you haven't already, God loves you and is very fond of you. And the way you think and feel and the way you're going about your life, the way you're making your choices. So, yes, you can be restless for God, and that helps. But let the restlessness grow into fondness. We're talking about between the infinite creator of all, the infinite spirit, and you, an individual who are made out of spirit by the infinite spirit. And there's a spirit-to-spirit relationship we're seeking, of the individual spirit to the infinite spirit. Another description of fondness I came across, rapt attention and deep appreciation. Rapt attention and deep appreciation. Very often when people are falling in love, they're in deep fondness of everything about the beloved. There's just this wonderful, tender affection. And it's a beautiful thing to see. A friend of mine just got married and went to a restaurant on their brief honeymoon. And they were so much in love that the hostess said, no, you're in love. You don't pay the check today. You're obviously in love. They said, yeah, we just got married. Well, we're happy for you, and your lunch is free. It's very recognizable when people are fond of one another. Divine love for you and me contains a tremendous fondness and appreciation, just like a mother appreciates every little growth and development of the child, just learning to utter anything and then utter a word, utter a few words, a sentence. Goodness, it's just amazing. It's delightful. When you're meditating, have you ever had an experience of God's fondness for you? Be open to it. God is fond of, not God just didn't create you and you're supposed to behave a certain way. No, God loves you in your unique expression. God is fond of you. Do you think God cherishes you? God does. So you might be open to God feeling fondness and cherishing you. Just be open to discover this, to feel it in the depths of your being. I'd like you to think for the next little while of God being fond of you That's the first one. So let's do it right now. God is fond of you. Fond, cherishing with deep and great affection, having a likeness for, tender and affectionate. God's fondness for you. Very good. And just take a regular opening, just regularly. Say, I've heard from yogis that God is fond of me, but I haven't experienced it yet. Please, Lord, reveal your fondness. I would deeply appreciate that. It would help my esteem no end. Can you also feel friendly toward God and fondness for God? It's important to be open to this dimension. It just makes all of yoga available to you. So now look within and strive to feel fondness for God. Can you do that? Let's be meditative. And spend a lot of time in either of these attitudes. God's fondness for you and your fondness for God. Let it develop. Fondness is a great connection. It's often the starting point of love. It's so easy to love God when you have fondness already. Fond of nature, fond of the beautiful day, fond of opportunities, events, experiences, fond of beautiful people who express spirituality. Another thing, that's the main point. Develop and encourage fondness. But if your spiritual practice ever goes flat, renew the fondness, if you ever had fondness. If your emotions just kind of flat and dull, and unhappy or blah, cultivate fondness. How do you renew fondness? How do you become fond again, or for the first time? Well, Ramakrishna said, and it's a great principle, appreciate. Take up appreciation. Think well of, understand and enjoy. Esteem. To recognize and be grateful for. To be thankful for. To be fully or sensitively aware of. To notice with discrimination. My goodness, how wonderful. So, appreciation helps you develop fondness. Just be appreciative. Notice. Regard. Treasure. Adore. So to repeat, how's your love? How's your bhakti? If it's feeble, develop fondness. If fondness is weak, develop appreciation. That means appreciate, doesn't mean criticize or tear down. It means honor and esteem. See the value, appreciate the value. Another thing is people very often are going through life at your left and at your right, and they may not ever feel anybody or God are fond of them. We're in a fondness desert. It's important for fondness to be experienced. Just people enjoying you and your individuality and your wit and your mind, what you say and what you do. Fondness appreciates, fondness maintains and increases love. So now I get into the backup from an expert. And you'll notice he really likes fondness. Dr. John Gottman of the Seattle Marital and Family Institute. He studies successful relationships and especially marriages. I probably saw this as an hour-long documentary on PBS. Probably that's where I found him. And he has found, Dr. John, he has found after watching innumerable couples come and spend weekends just being themselves in a home that has a laboratory attached to it, in which the psychologists and statisticians and other people can just notice how a happy couple or a sad couple exist together. The couple come and they're going to spend a weekend in a normal circumstance, a normal apartment. They're just going to go through their day, but they're going to be watched. They're going to be studied, and what they say and do is going to be helpful to humanity. Fondness plays a very important part. For married couples, how is the fondness factor? Is it present? Is it increasing? Is it waning? Dr. Gottman was saying the three main factors in a healthy marriage are: 1, knowing and understanding one another. That would involve communication. That would involve all kinds of beautiful qualities within one another. Knowing and understanding one another. The second, fondness and respect. They're fond of one another. They enjoy one another. They like one another. Fondness and respect. 3, a turning toward, not a turning away from. When they're dealing with problems or issues, just any issues, they turn toward one another rather than away. Very often, one person is kind of dominating the scene and I'll handle this. Or husband goes out and buys a boat. He doesn't know how he's going to pay for it. He comes home, guess what? I bought a boat. If you make a big purchase, your partner needs to be consulted before you make a big purchase and obligate you for months and years to the boat. But it happens. Somebody now and then just forgets the partnership, especially regarding money, and there's all kinds of stress on the relationship. One of the most stressful things in a relationship is the money, how you pay the bills. A turning toward, not a turning away. There are several more factors. They deal positively with the irritable. What's bothering one another, they don't just react in kind when they're being bothered. They don't just do the same thing back. You come to peace also about what you cannot solve or change in the partner. You come to peace with that. You move from gridlock to dialogue, to acceptance, instead of staying in gridlock for years and years. Happy couples who are fond of one another don't criticize one another. There's something wrong with you. No, they complain wisely, he says. What I'm unhappy about is, rather than, there's something wrong with you. They look for a way of saying things which might hurt the partner, and instead they soften what they might say. They value and comfort the partner, and they strive to say things in a way that have fondness within them. They don't undermine or discount their partner's worldview. That's your view. That's your right to have your view. They don't undermine or discount their partner's worldview. And interestingly, the main sign the relationship is dead, the relationship is over, when the fondness and admiration system is dead. No more fondness, no more interplay. Fondness is the key. I should say it again. The main sign the relationship is dead and over is when the fondness and admiration system is gone, has died. So, one of the most beautiful things you can do is cultivate fondness toward the day of living in bhakti. Bhakti yoga, the yoga of love in which you and God are aware of one another's presence and love in an ongoing way all the time. That's bhakti yoga, the easiest spiritual practice for enlightenment of this age, this beautiful era, in which there is so much emotional chaos, you could break through with fondness and bhakti. I wish you a life of awareness of God's fondness for you, and a life in which your fondness grows and grows into bhakti. God bless you.